Welcome to the Delingpod with me, James Delingpole. And I'm so excited about this week's special guest. He is back for a second appearance, and I've been longing to hear his views. It is none other than Kurt Schlichter, speaking all the way from California. Kurt, I'm going through paroxysms of misery at the moment, as I imagine a lot of Trump fans are, and I'm ringing you in America in the hope that you can offer me some crumb of comfort that it's not over yet. So, is it over yet? Is Biden definitely going to be the next U.S. president or not?
Well, James, first of all, thank you for having me back. I love doing your podcast because we could go down all these weird esoteric trails, and you get my Roman history references, my Rorke's Drift references. You know, it's always a pleasure. You know, I got called in my attorney capacity to go to Nevada as part of the Trump team. So I've got to be very circumspect about what I say because of attorney-client privilege and all that sort of stuff. That being said, there's a legal process out there. The president or any citizen has every right to use it, whether the media likes it or not. Realistically, it is a tough lift to get judges to pick the winner of an election. That is simply a fact. That it has nothing to do with how good the legal case is. Do I believe this election was stolen? Yes. I believe that we cannot rely on these results. And I see that both through out in public. I'm only going to talk about what's out there in public. I see that through many verified instances of fraud. I see that in statistics that just seem odd. The 89% voter participation in Wisconsin, for instance. A lot of this stuff just doesn't fit. Plus, a lot of these places are hotbeds of corruption, and we're dealing with the Democrats who are saying basically Trump is literally Hitler. Well, if Trump's literally Hitler, where's the moral guidepost that's going to rein you in from cheating if that's what it takes? That's one of the interesting things I've seen is none of these guys have gone, how dare we would never cheat. No, they're like, nah, Trump is a treason traitor of treachery. You can't say he's the worst guy in the world and then suddenly appeal to your own fastidious nature about the will of the people. It just doesn't. It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, I'm hopeful, but one way or another, it's going to be an interesting 4 years.
Well, yeah. I see your point that if somebody is literally Hitler, then your only moral duty is to go back in the time machine, or whatever,
and whack the baby.
Your fantasy is whack the baby,
Hitler.
Exactly. So how I am about the only person. I mean, I wish I were exaggerating here. I am about the only person left in the UK media who thinks that this election was stolen. Everyone else is going, even conservatives, in fact, almost especially conservatives are going, yeah, he's had his time in the sun. He must bow out gracefully now. There is no evidence whatsoever for any of these outrageous charges. President-elect Biden is the man, and it's going to be a time of peace and healing because there's going to be no more damaging rhetoric. This is coming from conservative. This is the conservative commentariat. Is it the same in the US, or is there a stronger kind of pro-Trump faction still surviving?
Well, I want to thank the British for having a group of conservatives who's even worse than ours. I mean, holy cow! Look, I've lived all over the globe. I've lived in several continents, and I'm not up to telling other people how to run their countries, nor do I like them to let me. But my gosh, has Boris Johnson sure stepped on it since his resounding victory. That being said, I'm not particularly inclined to give a damn what any of them say. The simple fact is, I guess it would be a lot easier to get back to business as usual if we just pretended Trump was this sort of unfortunate interregnum where where uppity proles got their way for a little while, but it's back to incompetence, failure, and smugness as usual. I wouldn't have such contempt for our ruling elites if they weren't so corrupt and incompetent and unbelievably arrogant. But yet they are. The fact is, I keep hearing how there's no evidence. Now, again, I'm a lawyer. Evidence is anything that proves or tends to prove the matter at issue. I have seen, in fact, I was present when people did declarations under penalty of perjury stating irregularities in the voting. So it's not that there's no evidence. When someone tells you there's no evidence, that's a lie. They are lying to you. Now, if they want to say, well, there's some evidence, but I don't believe it, or I don't believe it's compelling, or I don't believe it's sufficient to overturn the election, have that argument. But anyone who tells you there's no evidence is lying to you. There are huge unexplained issues. And it's not, and I'm not just talking about it being important in terms of a court of law. There are 71 million Americans who voted for Donald Trump, and 75, 76 who voted for Biden, maybe 77. Those 70 million Americans deserve to know that they lost fair and square, if they in fact did lose fair and square. They don't know that now. I keep being told by the media, the same media who was telling us that Putin hacked our election in 2016, Trump's an illegitimate president, they're shocked anybody might not trust the electoral system, especially in big blue Democrat cities that don't allow observation and don't allow verification and don't allow the kind of safety precautions that any other place would demand. I mean, all these people talking about how this is a great election, they would absolutely defecate themselves if we proposed to run in Britain an election like we ran in America. You guys don't play that. You guys tend to do it right, at least as far as I understand, and you get results the same night.
We actually have the same problem with our postal voting. It is monstrously corrupt, and I'm afraid to say that people who know about this stuff tell me that this is a practice that we've effectively adopted from the Indian subcontinent, where as you can imagine, the postal voting fraud is epically rife. It's just huge. And some of these cultural practices you find in particularly constituencies where there's large, kind of immigrant communities from or of Pakistani heritage, say. I think that's an observable fact. And yeah, at the moment we have something called the Electoral Commission, which is probably as corrupt and biased as any of your organizations in America, which is supposed to oversee electoral quality. So the grass is not greener on this side, I can assure you. But nevertheless, looking at what's happening in America, my view is that this is the biggest. This makes Watergate look like the teddy bear's picnic. This is the biggest electoral fraud in history, maybe.
The last 4 years have been the biggest. I see this as just a continuation of what's happened the last 4 years. Is a failed establishment, obsolete, incompetent, stupid, evil, corrupt, malignant, yet absolutely convinced of its own superiority, is shedding every kind of norm or rule in pursuit of holding on to power for a little more time. I think we talked about it the last time. My thought about this is the whole post-war arrangements for the last 70, 80 years are dying. It's old. Things aren't working. Everything from NATO to the National Football League to the way we run things here in America, the way you run things back over there. It's all falling apart, and normal people sense it and want it fixed. And the elite can't fix it because it wants to maintain its own power. It's like Venezuela. You would think that there'd be a bottom but there's not. People are eating zoo animals in Venezuela, and the rulers are like, oh, okay, well, we can live with that. And it's not too far from what's happening here. They can live with all the problems. But the way that, let's assume Biden does come into office, the way he comes into office is going to be pretty amazing. He's unbelievably weakened. He's the weakest president. He would be the weakest president ever taking office, and the establishment will not tell you that. I will in my Townhall column on Monday, the 16th. But he got slaughtered in the House of Representatives. The Democrats have a 5-seat majority, which is just basically going to give Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, ulcers. The Senate looks likely to stay Republican. There's some weird runoff elections in Georgia that have to take place, but they one of the Democrat candidates there who didn't get a lot of scrutiny in the general election. They're dumping all the opposition research. One of his big things is white people have to repent of their whiteness, which I thought was just going to go over super well with the Georgia voters. It's just, I mean, it's that kind of foolishness and racial garbage. It's just interesting. All the things that the liberals called those of us who refuse to be part of the constellation of the elite is, racist, stupid, dumb, bigoted. It's all what they are. It's all projection. It's kind of remarkable.
Yeah, Biden over here, he is. Seriously, I think if you read our media, you would just your head would explode. Even the conservative media, they are all presenting Joe Biden as this great new, fresh hope for America, for the world, and he's going to make everything nice because he's a nice guy. Can you just give me a sort of counter to that narrative?
Joe Biden is a corrupt machine politician for 47 years. His stupidity is only balanced by his corruption. He's just, he's a brave new day. Good God, talk about wishful thinking. This guy's a clown, and he's senile. He is manifestly decrepit. The idea he's going to unify anything is ridiculous. What foreigners like, first of all, and James, I adore you. But I don't give a rat's ass what foreigners think, okay? I spent a huge number of years of my life cleaning up their freaking messes overseas. I am not impressed by them, and I do not cede any moral high ground to people who are not American. Unfortunately, a lot of Americans do, mostly because they've never lived overseas, except to jet in Paris and London for a couple days and go, oh, this was so wonderful. I know everything. Go live in Kosovo for a while. You'll learn about Europe. He's going to do all the things that the elite want. He's going to try and put the pieces back together. We're going to have the same NATO we had 20 years ago. Okay. We're going to have the same climate idiocy. Oh, and you'll love this. I was on, I don't even remember, one of your TV stations doing a hit. And, the presenter was, well, do you believe that Joe Biden will take a more serious direction regarding climate change? And I said, climate change is a pagan hoax designed to make Prius driving losers from Marin County, fill up their empty lives since they got rid of God. It's a joke. It doesn't exist. And anybody who does anything regarding climate change is a sucker, a fool, or trying to rip you off. And I thought she was going to stroke out on me. Apparently, no one's ever said no to her before. Boy, I wish she asked me about assault rifles and how I believe that every American citizen should be mandated to own one. I mean, really,
oh my God,
like a military grade, not like semi-automatic. I mean, like a machine gun.
You should have been. I was at this dinner party last night, and as we had a few whiskeys, and the children of my host, who were, like university age, they'd been sort of indoctrinated by university, and we started talk. First of all, we talked about climate change, and they said, "You're a climate change denier." I can't believe that. I just, it was like I said, I eat children. I couldn't have said anything more outrageous until
you're a denier.
About this.
I'm a unicorn denier.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, funnily enough, I deny unicorns too. So then we moved on to the Second Amendment, and I said, not only do I believe the Second Amendment, not only do I believe that we should have a Second Amendment in the UK, but I all believe that we should have a right to have semi-automatic weapons at the bare minimum. And everyone, the entire table, including my wife, I might say, looked at me like I was the most extreme rabid person, and they didn't think I meant it. And I genuinely did mean it.
You get out one of these blue states and say something like that, they're going to look at you and go, "Hey, you sissy, what about automatic weapons? What the hell's wrong with you, fascist?"
I'm such a lightweight. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Do you know what I'm going to do? Okay, you haven't given me much hope about Trump so far, but if he does win, I've got some money on this, and if he does win by some miracle, like the miracle of Ruth Bader Ginsburg dying at the right time.
Boy, that was bizarre.
I mean, well, will it go to the Supreme Court? Is that how these things work out? I mean, I don't understand.
Well, hey, I've been a lawyer for 25 years. I barely understand it. Things can end up at the Supreme Court. Some like this probably would, but there's challenges to the manner the election is conducted, and then there's a contest that is the election so overwrought or completely overwhelmingly fraudulent that it needs to be tossed out, and that's happened in rare occasions. Never for a presidential election. So it certainly could end up at the Supreme Court if it has difference between federal law questions and state law questions, but yeah, it could. But I don't see, while there's a 5-justice conservative majority plus Roberts, who really isn't much anything, I do not see them just handing it to the president just because. If there's no, I mean, I think they will if there's a reason. If they don't see a reason, I think. See, here's the problem: we try to put in people who follow principles, and if they're not convinced that it's a meritorious claim, they're not going to go for Trump as much as they may want Trump reelected. If it was the other way, I would have no doubt that they would immediately designate him the winner, Biden the winner.
Right.
Yeah, there's no question.
You mean there's a kind of cultural bias against conservatives, even among conservatives?
Well, no, that's more of a lawyer thing. But there is a cultural bias against conservatives among conservatives. For some reason, conservatives have bought into this bizarre argument that the liberals are interesting, educated, informed, intelligent, honest people. And that's all a lie. I'll get these liberals, and I'll be on social media. And you should read a book. That'll show me, because I've never read a book. I've got 3 degrees. I've got your degrees. I went to your schools. I passed them. I went through your institutions, liberals, and I beat most of you. Becoming a colonel in the army. Look, I'm not a war hero, but that's something. Going to graduating Army War College, that's something. And I get these unaccomplished little snots who somehow think they're impressive. And the funny thing is, the stuff I just mentioned doesn't impress me. It's just stuff I did. It impresses them, and ironically, they're the ones who have lesser credentials. It's bizarre. Yeah. The thing is, we're operating in a fact-free world. I go into a courtroom. Most of the time, I can be pretty sure that, A plus B equals C. But when you deal outside and facts don't matter, it's A plus B equals you're a racist, shut up.
I was talking to this guy at the weekend who was ex-military like yourself, and he was in a state of despair. He really felt like our world is being lost. I mean, it seems to, even since our last podcast together, I think that it's got crazier. That it seems like every one of our freedoms is being taken by this a sort of global totalitarianism. It's not kind of local totalitarianism anymore. It seems like every country in the world is being subsumed by this. Whether you call it technocracy or kind of global Marxism or global fascism or whatever, or the Great Reset. But bad shit is going down, and I'm beginning to despair. I mean, I never quite lose hope. But do you see where I'm coming from?
I do, and look, it's understandable that people despair. But remember Francis Fukuyama, like 25 years ago, 30 years ago? The end of history? History doesn't end. I mean, like you, I take refuge in the ancient world. And I've seen this play before. And things get bad. And then people get ticked. And then some people get frisky. And things change. At some point, people are just going to say, no. It's like Caligula. All right. I'm gonna invite the senators and their wives to a dinner party and do the wives. I'm gonna make the horse a consul. I'm gonna, next I'm gonna, oh, wait, there's a dagger sticking in my back. People react.
Well, that's kind of what I mean, though, Kurt. It's not. I mean, I agree. On the decline and fall, rise and fall of civilizations level, things move in waves, and we're like ants in the great scheme of things, and our individual lives count for naught. But actually, I kind of care about my individual life, and I care about my kids' individual lives, and so on. And I'm thinking,
that's a little tougher.
Have you seen that series Barbarian? Yeah.
Yes.
Have you seen Barbarian? Okay. So
I just watched
it's a bit
it.
Crap, isn't it? It's not as good as Last Kingdom. But
it is. I've seen both, and no, it is not.
No, but it's about a really interesting battle, which I don't know about. I'm guessing
Totenberg Forest,
you and I,
17, 18, and 19 Legio.
Exactly. So I've often mulled on that battle over the years, because I've in the past I've thought, my God, to have been one of those three legions, just trapped in this dark, this horrible. The Germans fetishize their forest. They're comfortable in the forest, but we non-Germans not so much. I mean, maybe I don't know. But I've always hitherto taken the imaginative side of the Romans, and recently watching that series, I was all for the barbarians. I was thinking, You've got to waste those mothers. They are the oppressors, and I feel that way about the World Economic Forum. I feel that way about Joe Biden. I feel that way about Boris Johnson. These are the Roman oppressors, and they must be destroyed. Now, that battle, as you know well, was in 9 AD.
Yep.
How long did it take for the Roman Empire? Had you been around in 9 AD, you'd have thought, the Romans are toast. They're never going to come back from a humiliation like this. Just tell me, how many years did it take for the Roman Empire to fall after that battle?
Another 470 in the west, another 1,000 in the east. No, actually more than that. 1,470 something in the east, I think.
Yeah. So do you see what I'm saying? I mean,
I do.
It's all very well saying, this stuff is going to end sometime, but it could be in 500 years' time, or it could be in even longer. It could be a millennium of kind of liberal, left, fascist, whatever. It's all the same. Fascism, communism. It's all totalitarianism, technocracy, the same turn. Give me some hope here, rather than just like, it'll be all over in 500 years. Don't worry.
Well, take a look at the election results in the United States. Biden cheats and barely gets through. Let's assume he wins. He barely gets through. Okay? Yeah. It's maybe 77,000 votes across, 4 or 5 states. Yeah. We smacked him up in the House of Representatives. Looks like we're going to keep the Senate. We've got the Supreme Court. Biden comes in unbelievably weak. First of all, I don't think he's going to be in office in the next year. I think he's going to get 25th Amendmented out of there. I think
And they're going to get worse, though.
it may get worse.
We'll get the Kamala feature.
Yeah, sometimes worse is better in the short run.
Okay.
Right. You know, I don't see her getting reelected in 2024. I see the Democrats getting wiped out in 2022. I think, I think they've got. Look, I mean, I'm a military guy, so I don't spend a lot of time considering my situation and in the sense of, oh my God, this sucks. It's more like, okay, what's my next move? And my next move in this one is to basically ensure that Joe Biden enters office as a lame duck, that he's unable to do the damage he wants. And I frankly think that people are going to look back on Trump and go, you know, it was pretty good during the Trump years. And now we have this same kind of, you know, malaise that they always give us. Have you ever, do you ever see any of these established people giving anybody hope? I mean, I guess some people said that about Barack Obama. He talked a good game. What did he deliver? Where was the prosperity? Where was anything? Gosh, I wish he'd just go away. Oh, he's terrible. Yeah. He's just a clown. And the funny thing is,
he was a very kind of plausible, good-looking, sort of nicely spoken clown, but he was a clown nevertheless.
Yes. Yeah. And, you know, this is what passes as an accomplished person to you guys. Man, you're suckers. What a bunch of saps. I mean, really? Barack Obama? You know the difference between there are two differences between me and Barack Obama. Yeah, he got elected president, but I wrote a law review article and he didn't. You know, I mean, he's you know, he's not that impressive a guy. I guess he's got a new book out. I'm sure millions will sell and thousands will be read.
Hundreds, certainly. Hundreds.
What was the thought process of making? I want to listen to this guy write for the next 400 pages. This is great.
Okay. So you are giving me. I quite like that. You are giving me little gobbets of hope. So okay. So Biden is going to be a lame duck. Is he not going to issue lots of executive orders and try and bypass Congress?
He'll try, but there's not a lot. I mean, executive orders are annoying, but you can't really do that much. Plus, we have a Supreme Court to say no. So he may try and rule that way. But that's going to be very difficult for him, especially at the Supreme Court we have. I mean, the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who is one of the few elite opponents that I respected, just because she was so damn tough. That's if you have any doubt about religious faith, there's some proof for you.
Yeah. There is a God, definitely. I
agree with you. I mean, he, again, she. Look, I never wish any ill on the lady. She's one of the. I wish I could, I wish we were in a place, and we can't be because of the left, where we can feel about all opponents the way we felt about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And she has very good friends with Scalia. I think that is a healthier society. I think, old Roman Republic style, but. When you've decided the most important thing is retaining your power no matter what, which is what the leftist elite has done, that makes it impossible because they have to demonize you. You have to be a bad person. And it also makes it kind of uncomfortable when they realize the entire country is not Los Angeles, Seattle, San Francisco, New York, Washington, Chicago. You get out of there and start babbling about climate change, and somebody says, well, so you want to take away my job fracking? Well, yeah, you can go code. Well, I have a better idea. How about you kiss my ass and I keep doing my job and you stop interfering in my life? How's that? There's my counteroffer. What do you think? The left is endlessly surprised that Americans really are American. I got to tell you, there's a lot of anger out there. Yesterday, there was a pro-Trump march. They were attacked by leftists, and a bunch of very burly conservatives beat the living shit out of a lot of these guys. And the media was like, "Oh my gosh, this is terrible." And most of us were like, "Meh. Well, I mean, what are the rules? You know, you're telling the cops not to interfere. You think we're just gonna let these scumbags beat it?" Look, I'm cool however they want it to go. I'm trained. I'm tough. I'm ready. You know, I prefer, a wonderful civil society where everybody's friendly. But you start threatening me and my family, and that's going to end poorly, and probably not for me.
That's brought me on to my next question, which is, okay, so you've got 70 odd million who voted legitimately for Trump, and because more people voted for him, didn't they, this time than in 2016?
Yes,
and
he got the second most number of presidential votes ever. Not that it matters. There's no popular vote, but it's an interesting fact.
Okay. So, and probably none of those votes were cheaty, made-up votes. So, how are those 70 million people going to, if let's stick with if Biden gets in, and a lot of them are going to feel this was a stolen election. So, how is that going to work out for the state of civil unrest in America?
I don't see conservatives rioting, but I see them being very angry. I see them checking out of the establishment. That is, there's this alleged desire for normalcy. But if normalcy means our votes don't count, I don't think people are going to be in on it. I think, look, conservatives tend to riot at the ballot box, and they did.
Yeah.
In the down ballot stuff, and I think they did in the general. But I think we're. Look. I don't see us breaking into civil war tomorrow, but I think there are real problems in the country. And as you know, I write novels about America breaking apart. My 5th one's coming out in a week from tomorrow, called Crisis. It's very good, if I say so myself, which I do. Look, one of my first memories was being at Gettysburg Battlefield, which is down the road from where my family came from, Chambersburg in Pennsylvania, which the Confederates burned to the ground. So this is, this history is something I understand. It's a part of me. It's part of many Americans. Most Americans, there are some submissives, but most Americans have no intention of being ruled by anybody but themselves.
Long may that continue. That spirit. But okay, so if Biden wins, how do we guarantee that the Dems are not going to do the same cheating trick in the next election?
Well, there are a number of things that are going to need to take place. For one thing, a number of these states, like Pennsylvania and Georgia, for instance, is a state where you have a Republican governor, Republican legislature. There, you can put laws into effect pretty easily. I think there will be an investigation when we hold the Senate into what happened. I think that's inevitable. I think most Americans, the never Trumpers don't care, but most Americans think, it kind of makes sense to have free elections. And, sending ballots out to everybody else, not having ID, that's kind of, that's a little off. I think we can force the Democrats to a position where they've got to accept, where they want to or not, some level of election reform so this doesn't happen again. But
right.
I think he'll get pushback. I mean, Biden came out and said it's time for Americans to unify. And of course, my first question was, oh, great. What are you going to give me that's going to unify us? I mean, you're the guy who wants to unify. I think you make the first offer. What am I going to see that's part of this unity? And of course, he didn't want unity, he wanted submission. So I don't see any real cooperation from him. I don't think we'll see much of him anyway. I think he's going to be permanently hidden.
Can you tell me briefly, if you understand this thing, about Dominion?
Dominion is a computer election software, election machine maker. And there's allegations that software was used to change the numbers in the election. I have no special knowledge of it. I know what the arguments are, and I'm waiting to see the evidence. But if some of the things about it are true, that it's owned and operated by Democrat or Democrat adjacent people, I think that's very troubling. So we'll see.
But troubling enough to be compelling in a court.
Could be. It could be. I mean, yeah. The problem with an election is, first of all, the time frames for the litigation is very abbreviated. You only have a matter of weeks, which is reasonable.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that statistical analysis will play a part. Does it make sense statistically to get these particular results? Are these results, based on past patterns, based on comparable results in control localities, localities where no one's alleging any kind of shenanigans? Was it all on the up and up? And I think that's an important thing to take a look at. That's one of the ways you can show systemic fraud.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, none of us do yet. But the place that you bring it out in court, and the Democrats are really angry. It took 35 days for Al Gore to concede in 2000. And I think we're on day 13 or 14, 12 or 13 today. Yeah. Give me a call in early December. If Trump's people have a right to litigate it, and they'll either win or they'll lose.
Right. Yes. Well, that sort of brings us to another question, which is, have the kind of technical experts who understand how these voting machines work, and you've got issues like the U.S. military going to get the servers in Germany, and in where else? Spain, I think. I mean, this seems got to be significant, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've heard of that, but I find it odd that U.S. military forces would take action in a foreign country like that. So I have my doubts about that. I don't know anything about it, but if I'd been a soldier in Germany today, go down to the Kaiserslautern and grab these servers, I'd be like, are you crazy? I'm gonna have a bunch of bullets shooting at me. That's a huge international incident. I'm not gonna do that. So
you mean that could be fake news? I see. That's a shame.
Yeah, I was
getting all excited when I read it on Twitter.
Oh, well, here's where you believe things. Believe substantial admissible evidence presented in court. That's where you believe it. At the end of the day, everything else is just freaking talk.
Yeah.
And I am 100% for Trump. I believe the election was stolen. I also believe it's important that we meet the standard to prove it.
Yeah.
Because I don't particularly want to, I don't want to get our hopes up. I want to do it piece by piece, part by part, in sequence, carefully.
Yeah.
And then set the trap and let it go.
Okay, I know you've got stuff to do, and it's your Sunday morning. I don't want to eat into it anymore, but just one more question, which is, can you just finish off with this happy ending you were going to give me? So you've got lame duck president, if this happens, lame duck Biden comes in, absolutely useless, tries to rule by executive order, can't really. Maybe Kamala gets in, she's even more left wing, more upsetting to most Americans. What happens at the next election?
2002 is the midterms. The 2022 is the next House of Representatives and 33 Senate seat election. I think we'll do very well. Traditionally, the out of power party does very well, and we only have to take 5 seats to control it.
Right.
In 2024, here's what I see. I think Kamala Harris will be president by then. I think she'll be primary because she's going to do a terrible job because she's stupid and corrupt, and her policies are terrible. I think the Republican Party has changed, and I know the British conservatives are going to be very sad to hear it. But the old school Mitt Romney conservative, we just have nothing but contempt for them. They're weak, they're feckless, they're cowardly, and they're losers. You're going to see a lot of people trying to take the Trump mantle, including maybe Donald Trump. He could run again. He could pull a Grover Cleveland. I wouldn't put it past him. Though I think more likely he would start Trump TV because Fox News, which used to be a huge player, has completely destroyed its credibility among conservatives. That's just an objective fact. The conservatives are furious at it.
Yes.
But I believe that you got to understand some about Trump. We weren't in love with Trump. We like Trump. I love Trump. He's entertaining. He's amusing. He doesn't take shit. He's a tough guy. I like all that. But my movement isn't Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the avatar of a movement. And the avatar of a movement, and various things called populism, America First, which is really not so much America First, but, elite second. And the smartest Republicans have taken notice of this and understand it. There are a couple things he does. He doesn't back down. He doesn't pretend the elite has any legitimacy. Here's something that's very interesting. Today, we have the Sunday morning political shows. There's one on each network, and that's where a senator or a vice president or whatever goes in, and that's the big interview of the week. The Sunday morning shows. One of the Sunday morning guys was furious because no Republican senator would appear on his show. That's because we're done with them. We're done with them.
Yeah.
We're not going to. We have stepped out of their paradigm.
We've got a similar thing with the BBC. I mean, and you think about how completely cucked our conservatives are. I mean, they are Romney in excelsis. But even our cucked conservatives increasingly will not break bread with the BBC and do all these kind of shows, and they still do to a degree. But it's good to hear that's happening in America. Who do you think then would apart from Trump, he'll be quite old by then, won't he, in 2024?
Yeah, he will, and I think 78.
Yeah,
I think it's 78.
So who
South
would be
Dakota
the
Governor
candidate?
Kirsty Noem is
like her?
a contender. Yeah, she's very tough, very pretty.
Yeah.
And she's
Doesn't
basically
hurt.
saying, South Dakota's not going to do your stupid COVID nonsense. We're not going to stop living
Love
because
that.
of this idiotic disease. Rick Grinnell, who was our ambassador to Germany, is another guy, close friend of mine. He is he knows how to communicate. He's suave, unbelievably smart. Liberals hate him, hates him right back. Gay man and evangelical Christian all at once.
Wow. Yeah, that comes on the basis.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are several others out there, and we would just go on all day. But I think they need to learn. A lot of them will learn the wrong lesson, which is they'll think, well, be obnoxious. Trump was obnoxious, right? Well, no, that's not Trump's appeal. Trump's appeal was he didn't take crap. You'll notice Trump is never obnoxious to anyone who's not obnoxious to him. He's the guy who runs out and hugs all the firemen. Stand by the airplane when he gets off Air Force One. But you give him crap, he's going to fight you. But a lot of people take the wrong lesson and think, well, I'll just tweet mean things. That's not the secret of Trump. The secret of Trump is he doesn't play by their rules. He refuses to allow them to constrain him, and he keeps his promises. That was Trump's thing. In 4 years, we're going to look back and going to go, where are the promises you kept? Where are the promises you kept, Joe? Because the economy is going to be worse, except for people like me. I'm a blue state lawyer. I'm going to do fine. I'm probably going to make a lot of money. That's just a fact. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not happy about it. A guy who drives a truck ought to be the first guy in line. And that was the guy who was first in line with Trump.
Yeah.
Listen to me. I sound like an old school labor guy, huh?
Yeah.
But a lot of old school labor guys splashed ashore at Normandy. A lot of old school and Democrats. They love their country. They just wanted to make sure the little guy had a fair shot, which I don't disagree with. I'm a Republican, obviously. I'd be a conservative if I was in England. But, there was a time when this...
Actually, you'd have rejected them if you'd been... You'd have been
I'd
thinking,
stay in just to cause them problems.
Oh, would you? Right, okay, yeah.
I get up at question time and go, hey, Prime Minister, why aren't we all dead? I was told 10 years ago we're going to die from climate change. Why are we not dead? Can you fill me in? Thanks. I'll be over here. I'm having a pasty. That's what you Brits do, right? Eat pasties and a pint.
We have they're called pasties, not pasties.
Pastas.
Yes. No, pasties. You're on the right lines. Yeah.
Okay.
You're learning.
I'll come to England sometime when the disease is done and you can show me.
Oh, the disease will never be done, Kurt, because they'll arrange it so that the disease is never done. It'll always be having little mini resurgences, the second, third, fourth, fifth wave until we've all been vaccinated by Bill Gates. I think that's the plan. But that's another story. I know it's horrible. So look, Kurt, we should talk again when we've got the result. And we can catch up then, and we can commiserate or whatever. That would be good.
Anytime you want.
I will leave you to your Sunday. Thank you so much for spending the time. It's been really great. Everyone, we love Kurt Schlichter, and you're listening to the Delingpod. Don't forget, subscribe to me on Patreon or Subscribestar and support me, and you'll get more really good shit like this interview with Kurt. Kurt, great to talk. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
I hope I've got a gun next time. I hope I bought a gun, because that will be the sign, won't it? My shotgun.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Man, you come out here to Los Angeles, I rep the biggest gun range in Los Angeles. It's my client.
Oh.
We'll go out there. I'll bring everything.
I want everything. What's the best one? What's the gun will give me most pleasure?
The SOCOM 16. It's a 308 rifle. Basically an M14 or M1 Garand knockoff. It's just you got to try and miss. It's just spectacular.
What do you mean, like the Garand that they had in the U.S. Army in World War II?
Very similar. It's modified. It's got a magazine instead. But right. It's just it's nice. It's not a 30-06 like the Garand was, but it'll pro hurting on you. And I got a number of handguns you'll be interested in checking out.
Oh, I love this.
We're selling millions of guns a year. Millions of guns a month. My guys can't keep guns in stock.
I wish you'd been at this dinner party that I was at. You'd have just it would have been like drowning kittens, but in a nice way.
Oh, when they go, well, why do you need an assault rifle? I go, so I can kill tyrants, terrorists, and people who are criminals. My guns are to kill bad people, to deter them first, but if not, to kill them, because I retain the right to protect myself and my community and my constitution. In fact, I took an oath to do it, so they would be a little scandalized.
Yeah, no, I this was the line I tried, but what blocked me from getting through to them was that they have faith that government is not evil, that there will never come a time when you need to overthrow the government, or that the government will become so oppressive that you need to defend yourself against the government. Their heads cannot get around that idea.
Oh, well,
yeah,
that's our lifestyle around here.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, have a good Sunday.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.